Okay, Libra, let's do this. How are you today? I'm gonna light a candle. Make it proper, hey? Let's make it proper. Uh, Maybe that's important. It's important to do things right, to do things right this time around and to make sure it is right by you. But I think you always do it right by you. My mom is Libra, so I know some things. But I'm learning constantly. Learning from all of the signs, I have to say. Uh, and it's important to say that once the path is to overcome all these limitations that we have with our star signs and to grow almost out of it. So I know how you guys don't like to go into the drama. You always try and find a solution that doesn't hurt anybody, especially you. You don't move the waters. Can we keep it calm? I've dressed up in her ring and her clothes as well. She's cool. She's cool, and I got into this Libra energy, and it's kind of very sweet. I feel very cute. I feel very comfy. I want to get into comfy clothes. Kind of poshy. I feel like knowing my mom as well. You do sometimes switch to this poshy good lifestyle. She does like that. She wants to be abundant, and abundance is coming for you. But I think it's important to recognize what is true treasure and what is true abundance. And even though sometimes we don't want to rock the boat, there are times in our life that just from my perspective as an Aries, decisions do need to be made. Let me just say it. I keep saying it to her. So, okay, let's get into this. I feel like you're tired of waiting. You're kind of like, oh my god, I'm just dead tired of waiting. Let me just get out there. I want to go. How long am I gonna wait? Maybe you were enjoying it for a bit, but then you also currently, maybe today or these couple of days, I think you're a good friend, Libra. You love company, you love community, you thrive and when you're surrounded by people and friends and work colleagues, and you need that around you, which is that's why I know, because Aries are the polar opposite most of the time. Although we do want to, but it's not, and it's like a necessity. We're used to being on our own. And you help friends. I feel you help friends, and there's the Six of Pentacles, the card of charity. So you're helping somebody out, or somebody's helping you out, and you're doing it with integrity. You're just there. You're there for people. You're somebody people can rely on. And yeah, you could be quite sustaining for others, creating that comfortable, if you do tend to create that comfortable place for yourself, that peaceful, keeping the balance, right? Makes sense. Then you do that for others. However, on the flip side of that, growth and contrast of life is always there, and that's how growth happens. This is how we evolve, right? Through talking through some things, or welcoming the consciousness. I mean, these days I even work with internally through myself and just try even to say thank you for the conscious. Thank you for this difficult lesson, because I trust that there's definitely some goodness to take out of it. So let's begin your reading. You have got Mount Kenya in reverse. This card talks to me about sustenance in the upright. You know, it's the importance. It questions the amount that we take from Earth, and you know how much are we overdoing with like taking. But since it's in reverse, I think it is now more in balance than so. I also feel like this today talks about some people are how do they say it? Some people are getting by, or what's the word? There's a word with the S. And some are thriving. Some are yeah, the other word of the getting by. I'm gonna please come back. I'm taking to the word. And the clarification. Actually today was really fun, cause I found these guys. I brought these to my mom from the Caribbean. My one-time visit to the Caribbean, which I loved. Such a beautiful place. And it reminded me how much you guys like traveling. My mom would do. I'm gonna talk a lot about my mom in this video. Not because I want to talk about mom, but because I can create a lot of parallels here. How cool are these though? Caribbean, man. Anyway, she loves traveling. She'll do anything for travel. She like, you know, it doesn't matter how much or what she needs to do, and she'll just go out of her way to do it. And then think about it later. You know what I mean? It's a bit funny. So I use those cards to clarify, which are traditional, like playing cards, which my mom as well, but my grandma as well used to. My grandma always used to lay out the cards. These old school cards, you know, not the tarot. Yeah, she used the playing cards to lay out spread. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of bringing me back to my roots. And I pulled one of those figurines. It is a woman, but she's in pants. And what I'm trying to say here is, you have this a bit of a pinky energy about you, and I do feel you on your own, in the sense that you're in I feel you're in the midst of making a decision. And I think the pinky part is the quartz crystal. There's a lot of quartz crystal that we have around the house as well. She brought quite a lot. There's a lot of love. And I think that love, even though you're so loving and could be, nurturing for others perhaps, by creating that balance, or trying to create the balance, you know. There is so much need for you Libras to like look at self-love. Just give so. I feel like the rose crystal quartz something is good for you to focus on self-love. It's just so, and sometimes I think you guys forget how amazing you are. Like, if there's somebody around you who can really support you and remind you and just lift you up, I feel like you're just gonna go a mile. You will, that's exactly what my mom said. It's like if someone encourages me, if someone is supportive, I'll just like go go go. I mean, I guess that could be for anyone, but I mean, I just feel like there's a lack of praise for you, Libra, generally, and sometimes that could be detrimental to your self-belief and self-love. So keep that in mind. But right now, I feel like you have released that getting by vibe. You're releasing that getting by vibe, and you're working with thriving. Yeah. There's this way of saying this much better, but I can't remember exactly. Fine. So it's not about like sustenance anymore, you know, like this kind of like you're not sustaining, you're thriving yourself, you know, you're moving into that energy, and it will take a bit of steps to get there, but definitely this is what you got almost by the end of it. So abundance in so many different ways, if having done the work, of course. But so I clarified the first card, like I said, with the Caribbean West Indies playing cards, and it is the Three of Diamonds, which is essentially, I believe, is the Three of Pentacles. So there's a group of you, maybe like, and you're starting to, it's getting there. I think the project, whatever you might be doing in terms of potentially work or related to your finances, you're starting to go ahead, to move ahead, like baby steps, but it's happening, because in the next card we already got the 7. What is the 7? I can't, seven. Meeting someone. I don't know if you're meeting someone, but you're. I feel like you're moving from the 3 to the 7. That's definitely that there is a progression. So you're gonna go. It's going ahead, whatever it is. And do bear in mind, I feel like you're kind of in between. You're kind of in a place where you need to be making a decision. It's like you're either choosing. You're in this past life, but there is like this future life, and you're in between. You're not longer in the past life, but you're not yet in the future. So you're in between. Is how it feels, and you're making a decision. But you're not quite sure yet, because you need a plan. You just need to really strategize, or you need the universe to show you how to do it with the minimal damage, as balanced as possible, so that nothing kind of gets too shaken up. You're like, I just want my future life, but without like trashing down everything in the past. And even though the future might look quite new and appealing and exciting, there might be some questions around that, when the past seems to be a bit stable, right? You know how it works, you know what to do, you know how to go about it. It's hard for us to make that jump, the leap of faith. And these cards have been falling out for quite a few people, but especially this week. So it talks about this leader. I can't remember what's his name, but an American Indian leader who kind of needed to sacrifice. He was prepared to sacrifice part of himself in order to achieve this sort of balance and victory for his tribe. So I always talk about how there's a bit of an internal struggle and the need to create that medicine circle, meaning like, a self-medicine, which means a bit more internal work for you to take that leader role, really kind of stand in your power, and yeah, maybe make a sacrifice, and maybe that might be maybe painful, but I feel it. Contrast is a contrast, Libra. Sometimes you can't just put flowers everywhere in order to achieve what is important for your growth. And that's, I think, what's important for you to focus on. It's important for you to remember that what will be the decision that you're making, or choices, or the steps that you're going to be taking, always keep in mind that you can't always think about everybody else. You kind of have to consider yourself, self-love. It's important for you to acknowledge that you deserve this happiness, and not to say that you just have to shit all over the place. I don't think you will ever will, but I'm just saying it can't be always about everybody else. It has to be about you, and you deserve it. I think it's important for you to understand that you deserve it, and yes, make it as minimal as possible. Yes, strategize it. Yes, consider the fact that it is unknown, but you do deserve a better life, a better circumstances, a better partnership. Well, not better, but think about what is beneficial for your own growth. What will propel you to step up to the next level? That could be painful. I'm totally hands up, can be painful. So, and this is what I feel is like a more ancestral call here that we've got. The ancient wisdom is awakening. So it's like you're awakening to your power, to your knowing, to your roots. You're kind of really tapping into this deeper awakening for yourself. The knowing, the third eye, whatever it is. Yes, I feel like the energies are swirling and you're stepping into it, and Joker came out, and I feel like, normally you take out the Jokers. Sometimes you use them if you're playing certain games, but it's kind of like the Fool for me. So you are stepping into that newness. You're being brave, and Joker, maybe he's a bit of a fool, but it's fun, it's exciting, it's new, and you can become anything or anyone that you want. So you're considering, at least this is what I feel more, you're considering that option. You're considering that option. I'm saying considering because I can see that there's a bit more work that's going to happen before it actually takes place. So, the next two cards in your reading is Rapa Nui. And not in the reverse like it was in the previous, who was it? Virgo was having difficulty with kind of getting into this humble place, and kind of the card represents stewardship, so really kind of humbling down and starting from zero, starting from scratch, taking on, building from the ground up, becoming an intern, becoming a student of life, becoming, really just sort of bowing and to the forces that be, And the clarification here is these two cards, which kind of like a conversation, an emotional conversation, a heartfelt conversation with this Queen of Spades, which could be like a priestess, could be like tarot reader, or somebody who is related to law. So if you are making decisions on some kind of paperwork, it's a little bit emotional, but important. You know, you're like, okay, I give up, I give in, I take this kind of humble approach, and let's have a talk. And then in the next, I'm gonna come back to that. And then in the next card we have the Illumination, and we got the King of Spades, which we got a King and Queen here. No. So I do feel there's an illumination on a situation taking place. A lot of love for the situation. Whether this a couple, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna go into a relational, lovey stuff, but if you're making a decision in terms of how to strategize, you are talking to somebody, or you're talking to the person that you need to talk, who might know. Let's say it could be a lawyer, could be basically this somebody who knows more basic than you. You know, it could be also your work situation, where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna do what I need to do, and I'm gonna ask for guidance or advice. So you're having that heartfelt conversation, be it with a female, and you coming up as this King of Spades, which would be the King of Wands. So there's some sort of union of that shows you as humble and very loving, and or other way would be to see it as you're shining the light and learning about how to go about making that decision. And you need to believe in this. There's a lack of belief that I'm seeing with the next card, so make sure